Hey, on the index itself, some of those dips are getting bought into. Just pull up the intraday chart of a few stocks. SBI Life. Remember the insurance space, after a while, it's coming out of that bleak period in terms of stock prices. We're suddenly seeing some of these insurance companies do well, and SBI Life has spiked to the high point of the day. So keep an eye out on that. Power Grid, earlier today, we saw a large trade that took place. I'll be interested to see who are the buyers, but post that, we have seen a big uptick in the stock. It was at around 203, 204 odd. Now it's moving to around 210 rupees. So that's another one in there. And suddenly you have the Nifty Bank that's showing some traction. Axis Bank is spiking up. Big boy HDFC as well has recovered a little bit from the low point of the day. So good signs. If the Nifty can end closer to around that 18,100 odd mark. For the time being, though, let's get chatting with Mithun Aswath, managing partner at Kivah Advisors, who joins us. Hi, Mithun. Wishing you a good 2023. Well, in terms of the markets and positioning, I think today is going to be a big day. I guess you'll be tracking TCS's numbers very closely. I think in sometime in September, you said that you all were pretty bullish on the counter, on the index itself. That's the IT stocks. And TCS and Persistent, if I remember correctly, were two stocks that you like. What's your stance on the IT pack now?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nigel, and Happy New Year to you and your viewers as well. I think on the IT space, if you see, since we got that correction in September, October, we've seen a reasonably good rebound in the mid-cap IT companies because valuations had come to the lower end of the band. Similarly, even in TCS, it had come about 10, 12% lower from the current levels. So I think from here, obviously, one needs to see how the US, interest rate cycle moves. We do think, interest rates maybe in the US have peaked out, and we could gradually start seeing, inflation in the US also start to come down. That itself will give some impetus to the tech sector in the US, and that could provide a rub-off effect to Indian companies. In terms of the actual revenue growth and profit growth, revenues may actually, the revenue acceleration may come down. So you will not see revenues grow like how they grew in the last couple of years. But that could get offset by profits growing maybe slightly better because margins could get expanded over the next couple of quarters. That is the sense that we are getting.
I remember last time you had said that you like Explio Solutions in the small cap IT space. Do you still continue to hold that? Have you added on any other small cap, mid cap IT names?
No, Rima. This Explio is something that we've been holding for quite some time. It has actually got a corporate restructuring which is happening. They are merging their unlisted businesses into the listed company, which will make it a much larger entity. Overall revenues could touch over 900 crores. And they are looking at, expanding in terms of headcount to about 5,000 employees from, the consolidated about 3,500 over the next 2-3 years. So we actually see that as a potential opportunity, where, your employee base, which is growing from 3,500 to about 10,000 over the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Mithun, hi, good afternoon. You also like the hospitality sector, and you do say that there's a good risk reward there for investors. What are the names here that you like?
Good afternoon, Sonia. I think, the hospitality space is the last one to have, moved out from in terms of the COVID situation. Now, even with China opening up in terms of travel, if you see pre-COVID, Chinese used to contribute 25% to overall the tourism industry globally. So that will give a massive fillip, I think. We will see a lot more inbound and outbound traffic from India over the next 2 to 3 quarters. So we do like, as I mentioned earlier, travel services companies like Thomas Cook. And we also have been bullish on a software company which has airlines as clients. It's a company called Acelia.
Okay, all right. A couple of other names that we have spoken about in the past from the consumption pack. That's the FMCG stocks, to name a few. I think Tata Consumer as well as Marico. Both of them, I think you pretty much had some preference towards them. Any other names, and do you continue to prefer both these two?
Yeah, I think these two over the medium to long run have a good runway, especially because they are focused on newer categories in terms of healthier categories, be it on the Marico side with the Saffola brands that they're extending into different categories, as well as on Tata Consumer they have bought into Soulful, where they are looking to enter against several more categories under the same brand. So I think these are two companies which are focused on D2C as well as growing their existing business. So obviously their existing businesses are not going to grow at a very rapid pace. They will provide the cash flows, but the new businesses that they're investing in will provide the growth. So I think there are excellent ways to play this opportunity.
Any stocks which you recently exited because the risk reward isn't favorable anymore?
Nothing of late, Rima. I think I mentioned last time as well, I think only Raymond was one thing that we had exited in the recent past, since it had rallied quite substantially.
You exited Raymond recently, is it?
That's right.
Okay, all right. A couple of more spaces that you like. You've said that textiles may see an improvement in margins from the fourth quarter. Construction activity remains quite strong. You like cement, you like real estate, ancillaries. Can you take us through some names that are good buys for the long term?
Yeah, I think textiles is something that we're just monitoring because we think the third quarter again will be painful because they would have had high cost inventories of cotton. But from the fourth quarter, we actually do see, the cotton prices have come off with the new cotton crop. If you see the current price of cotton, they're way off what they were last quarter. So we do think, also the inventory glut which was there in the US markets and the European markets may also, level off. So we can see a new cycle for a lot of these exporters. And a lot of these stocks are come off maybe 50, 60% from their highs. So that is something that we are closely monitoring. Apart from that, you mentioned on the construction and as well as on the building material side, we're quite confident in spaces there as well. If you see recently, the gas prices have come down, and that could aid, areas like ceramics and tiles, which have plants in those regions where, gas prices have actually been reduced. So that could aid margins. And we do think growth in these spaces will continue to be in the mid double digits.
Okay. You want to name a couple of companies from the ceramic space, that's the building products space, and also from the textile space? Couple of stocks, couple of names that maybe you all are invested in or you all are currently in the process of studying that?
Yeah. So, on the ceramics and the sanitary ware side, we've spoken about Cera sanitary ware is something that we, been holding and we continue to be positive on. We don't hold, but I can mention Kajaria Ceramics again will benefit from this gas price coming down. In terms of on the textile space, we've been monitoring and looking at, the home textiles space as well, which has corrected significantly. And we are also evaluating a company called Gokuldas Exports, which is on the garment export side.
Mithun, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining in. Look at the way Kajaria Ceramics has spiked. The stock has suddenly surged close to about 2%. By the way, for the markets, the Nifty is once again scaled to levels of 18,100. We had dropped down to levels of 18,050 thereabout. But again, there has been an up move in the markets. A couple of contributors include UPL, so that's up close to about 2.5%. Reliance Industries has been a steady gainer today. Reliance Industries is up close to about 2.5%. HCL Tech has seen buying through the course of the trading session. So some of these stocks, Axis Bank, Tata Motors, these have seen minus spurts in the last 10 minutes. The Nifty is now back above 18,100. Get into a break. On the other side, as always, we'll get you a check on what dealing rooms are saying in our segment D Street Chatter.